So in the last lecture, we added a script to start our application, and this is nice to know that we have this scripting functionality. Now, with such a package.json file available, so therefore with this being a managed Node project, you could say, we can also do one other very important thing. We can install third-party packages. Because a typical Node project looks like that. You have your local project with your code, obviously, and you use a lot of core Node packages, like the FS package or the HTTP package we're already using. But often this does not suffice, and in the next course section we will install one big third-party package actually. Because you typically have such dependencies, third-party packages. So you want to use some functionalities, some code, which you didn't write on your own, but which is also not included into Node.js. Packages could help you with parsing incoming requests, validating user input, anything of that kind. Now, we will use Express in the next lectures, or in the next module to be precise. Body Parser is another package we'll use throughout this course. And there are thousands of packages available that offer all kinds of utilities you can add to your projects so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. These packages are available through the NPM repository. That is a cloud package repository where all these packages live, and you can conveniently install and manage them via NPM. Remember that tool that shipped with Node. And this is exactly what we will do now to install a first little utility package that will speed up our development workflow. Because right now what we have to do is, whenever we change our code, we have to quit the development server with Ctrl+C and restart it, right? So if we have it running with npm start now, remember this is our new command to start the server, and I would change something here. Like, for example, here I fixed that /head, right? Whenever I do this, I have to save this. And for my change to have an effect, I have to quit the server with Ctrl+C and restart it. Now, this is a bit cumbersome because we just want to be able to type and then hit save, and it should automatically restart then, right? That would be a great workflow during development. And to achieve this, we have to install a third-party package that gives us just this functionality. Now, how do we add such a third-party package? We do that with the help of npm. And there we get the install command. So just as we had run to run one of our scripts, install installs a third-party package. Now, how do we install it? First of all, we have to know the package name. And if you're wondering, well, how do I know the package name? Well, that comes with courses like this, experience, or by simply Googling for certain problems which you want to have solved, and all of a sudden you find a thread where some package is mentioned. Now I can tell you, for this auto restart mechanism, there is a package called nodemon, written like this. By the way, you can always search for npm and then the package name if you know that name. And you will find an entry on npmjs.com. Now this is the package page basically, where you find a description, installation instructions, usage instructions, how to configure it, because most packages give you an easy way of using it and then always give you configuration possibilities. You see how popular the package is, what version it's using, if there is an external homepage, where the source code can be found if it's open source. So you find a bunch of stuff here. Pretty useful. You also see how many versions are existing, and by default you will always install the latest version, by the way. But let's go back to installing it before we dive deeper into this whole npm thing. So we want to install it, and this command would install it, but don't hit enter yet. You can define how this should be installed, because packages which you install can be divided into development packages, so packages which mostly help you during development, and production dependencies, so packages that help you for the app as it's running on a server. For example, nodemon would be a development dependency, because we only use it during the development process. Once we install our app on a real server, we don't need it there. The real server, which is running somewhere in the internet, of course shouldn't restart, and it also doesn't have to, because we'll not change its code dynamically. And you can basically tell npm which kind of dependency this is. This does not make a huge difference, and you can omit this setting, but it helps you understand which package is used for what. Now you do add this by adding --save-dev. If you had just save like this would install it as a production dependency, so a package which we really use in our code and work with. And with this, we're indicating, this only adds something we use during development. There also is a third option, by the way. -G will not install it in this project, but globally on your machine so that you can use it anywhere. Now, let's first of all install it with save-dev, like this, --save-dev. Now, what this will do is it will download it from the NPM repository and install it into this project. So not globally on your machine, but into this project. So now you see, you get a report here that it finished successfully what it did, and it gives you a couple of new things in your project. It gives you that node modules folder, the package log.json file, and it updated the package.json file. There we see that the new dev dependencies section was added, and that stands for development dependencies. As I said, you can differentiate between different dependencies. We'll see production dependencies later too. And there you see that NodeMon was installed and which version was picked. Now, regarding that character here, well, this basically defines how this package will be updated if you rerun just npm install without defining an extra package name. Because this command standalone will simply go through all your packages mentioned in package.json and install them, and it would automatically pick a later version if available. But more on npm and packages can also be found in a separate module later in the course. So this is basically how we now install this. And the question is, where is it installed? Well, that is the node modules folder. And actually, that is a huge folder, as you can tell. The reason for this is that, for one, we got NodeMon in there. If we look for N, we see it here. Now, this is basically the source code of the package, or the build version of the package we installed. And this package simply happens to have a couple of peer dependencies. You can see them here and here. So we got a bunch of dependencies in there, and these and their dependencies are also installed. That is why you quickly end up with quite a big node modules folder. But you can always delete that node modules folder if you need to free up space. Now you can't use that package, but you can then rerun npm install if you start working on that project again, and it will reinstall this package and all its peer dependencies, and therefore recreate the node modules folder. This is how packages work in node projects. So you need that node modules folder whilst you're using the packages, but if you're not working on the project, you can delete it if you want, if you need the free space, and then just remember to rerun npm install once you're working on the project again. The package log.json file, by the way, just stores the exact versions I installed today, so that if you share your project with others, they can actually get these exact versions too, instead of the latest versions. But again, more on npm in a separate module.